and that diminishes nothing from it. Let me just reiterate, it diminishes nothing from it. But anybody that thinks that that's straight off the top of the dome, he's making it up as he goes along, that's idiotic. I'm sorry. He's clearly in the flow, and he's fucking spinning shit that he knows he's confident that he's going in with.
He's too confident for that to be just off the dome. No, they're not. And it was too intellectual.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a Martian.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think we got that covered.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's another reason why he should be in the top 5.
Exactly. And on that note, so
check this out before you move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk quickly about the disrespect, though, that when you start bringing up his name, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, he's okay. The Roots are good." They automatically synonymously say the Roots, and they kind of overlook Tariq and how he can spit. And a couple guys was like, "Yeah, well, I like You Got Me. That was a pretty good song." I'm like, whoa. Why did you even bring You Got Me up?
Yeah.
That is so commercial. That is offensive to even bring Black Thought up in that song. So I'm thinking like you said, a lot of people are taken for granted because he's on Jimmy Fallon, and it seems to be commercial that he can't get down with the average Joe.
Yeah, I mean, what Fisher just said, I think the thing, and he also never had that solo to actually have his name separated, because, I mean, when you're in a group, it's like the group effect. Yeah. Q-Tip ain't never talked about as the greatest rapper. Buckshot ain't talked about as the greatest rapper. Guru's not talked about the greatest rapper. Prodigy. And it's like, when you're in that group effect, it does kind of hinder, your ability. But, man. And also, I mean, Black Thought is a very introverted person as far as marketing himself. So, he just, he lets it speak for himself. Right. So that doesn't help. But, we're gonna slide to the side, and so we have a concept called the 64 MCs, and this was an idea that we thought about years ago. So what tonight basically is we're gonna just take you guys on our cutting room floor, and we're gonna introduce our 64 MCs. We're gonna talk about artists that were on the bubble. We're gonna talk about the process. We're gonna talk about artists that we automatically didn't have to think about. So this was very interesting because we really had to push our favorites to the side and really go for who has overall quantity, quality, lyrics, impact. Just people that we feel are true MCs and not artists. So we're gonna separate artists from MCs here. So on that note, I'm gonna lay down our top 20 that we felt like were easy.
Yeah, this came to the top of the dome.
Yeah. And it's not like these are the top 20 seeds. These are just 20 MCs that have to be in a field of 64.
Right.
For you to leave these 20 out of the field of 64 would be an injustice.
Straight up.
That's how we feel.
And as we go, we will see these rappers, but right now it's in no order. Kool G Rap, Nas, Black Thought, KRS-One, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Jay-Z, Biggie Smalls, Tupac, Eminem, Common, Mos Def, Redman, Guru of Gangstar, Big Pun, Scarface, Ghostface Killer, Talib Kweli, LL Cool J, and Slick Rick. So that was our 20 that, pretty much was our mass appeal that, they just got to get in. If I could just talk a little bit about, I thought my first impression on this list, it was interesting how when we said Ghostface there was no hesitation from anybody. Like all our panel. So we got other brothers that contributed that are not on this podcast now, but they contributed via text. Personal level. So it's not just us three. And no one denied Ghostface as a top 10, top 20 MC. I thought that was interesting. You know what I mean?
He is. He's up there, man.
Just to interject one thing, like that 20 that we just listed, we all agreed consensus-wise that they absolutely have to be in the field, but it's not necessarily our top 20. There's other guys that we also agreed absolutely have to be in the field that were not listed there. So don't, listeners might be like, oh, how did you not have Chuck D or certain guys in there? But they're in the list, so in the field.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So no order. We just kind of started with who we started with. But yeah, I mean, any of these rappers you guys want to talk about? I think to me, Ghostface. I just wanted to highlight that because to me, Wu-Tang's got so much crop in that field.
I think Big Pun don't get the props that he should get. I know y'all named him, but I think he should be to me, he's like Black Thought. Like he can get and run. He can run circles around. There was certain dudes that was in the '90s that the Black Thought, Big Pun, Cannabis. Like if you start rapping with them, nobody wants to step up after they did it. I think Big Pun had that effect, but I don't think he gets. I think because he passed, he don't get that. Him and Big L don't get that credit that they should. Maybe they do. I'm just saying. I don't really talk about.
No, I think they do. I think they do.
Okay, well, we'll roll to the next 10. Ice Cube, Prodigy of Mobb Deep, Andre 3000 of Outkast, Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest, Phife Dawg of A Tribe Called Quest, Jizza of the Mighty Wu-Tang, Raekwon from the same affiliation, Big L, Sean Price, and Buckshot. And that rounds out 30.
Can't complain about that.
Yeah, I mean, greatness is silence.
I mean, yeah, that's a solid list right there.
Okay.
I don't see how anyone could leave those names out of the field of 64. I don't.
Yeah. If Big L isn't on there, we're not doing it right. We'll go to the next 10. Chuck D from Public Enemy, Del the Funky Homo Sapien from the Hieroglyphics Crew, Snoop Dogg, DMX, Busta Rhymes, Lauryn Hill, MC Lyte, Pharoah Monch, E40, and Too Short.
Just to clarify for the listeners, are these top artists, or are we talking about lyricists, or are we talking people that can rhyme, or is this like artists overall?
So I'll let everybody follow me up. So we're looking at the MC category, but in that category, we're talking about lyrics, we're talking about impact, we're talking about longevity, and and some of these artists, some of these MCs do have artist attributes. But that was the MC criteria that we looked at, those three components.
So I think one thing we should be very crystal clear about here is that we are not factoring in these artists' production, because obviously people like RZA,
Dr. Dre,
Pete Rock, Dr. Dre would absolutely be a very high seed in our rankings. That being said, because we're going strictly off their MC, rapper, master of ceremonies abilities, none of those guys made this field, which is shocking to some, and I kind of have a problem with it in some ways. I mean, I kind of think RZA should be in there even as an MC because I love him personally, but he didn't make the list.
He didn't make the list because of Bobby Digital.
Yo, you hate that album.
Yo, man, I was in high school like, yo, what is RZA talking about, man? I was like, yo, I don't know what the pointy rings and the mask. I was like, oh, man, I can't get down with Bobby Digital.
Bobby. All right, we'll slide to the next. So that makes 40. We'll slide to our next 10.
I mean, no one wants to say anything about MC Light.
Oh, I'll say some about MC Light.
I don't know. That was like one of the only people on the whole list. I was like, really? Like,
all right, so Fishy wasn't feeling MC Light.
speak
I'm gonna speak on MC Light. Okay, out of all so Lil Kim, Foxy Brown are not in this list. Eve is not in this list. Missy Elliott's not in this list. Remy Martin, Nicki Minaj not in this list. MC Light is like the female Big Daddy Kane. Okay, 1987, Light as a Rock. 88, 89, 90. I mean, lyrically, she was not categorized as a female. She was categorized as a rapper. And you got to get into her catalog. I mean, I had an older brother who put me on to that.
What song was like Paper Thin, maybe?
Light as a Rock. Poor Georgie. Like, I had an older brother. You know what I mean? But MC Light was like a hard body MC, Brooklyn, like from Brooklyn.
Right.
You don't got Jean Grey without MC Light.
Yeah.
Okay.
She deserves to go on this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, next 10 we gonna roll. Be Real from Cypress Hill. Run of Run DMC. MCA of the Beastie Boys. Kendrick Lamar. MF Doom. Evidence. Dilated People's Fam. Odyssey. Jadakiss. Eazy-E. And LP. I feel like this bracket, these 10 right here
that's covers like every year.
Are very different. Yeah, all different types of. So all right, I'll start with. So I felt like either Jadakiss or Styles had to be on here. One of them had to be on here to represent the Locks. Just coming from that like street hip hop, a la Mobb Deep, a la MOP, a la Beanie Siegel. So I'm glad that
Beans ain't on the list.
Beans is not on this list.
I think at the end we should just rap about who did make.
Yeah, we will. But I feel like Jada represented those guys that didn't make it. Like he's the best crop of those guys that are in the the family of what he does. You know what I mean, Armand?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And so yeah, I mean LP is a monster on the underground level. I mean he's kind of almost a major indie artist at this point.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely with Roma Jules, she's definitely broken that borderline of being almost mainstream.
Right. Odyssey. MF Doom. MF Doom is like an underground giant. Kendrick Lamar. A young gunner, but I think Kendrick Lamar got a solid 3 or 4 albums. If he doesn't make anything else, he's gonna be talked about. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna roll with the next 10, which gives us 60. That's Method Man, AZ, Queen Latifah, Jean Grey, Master Ace, Big Boy from Outkast, Elzhi, Razzcast, Chino XL, and Fonte of Little Brother. Another tight Very different. Very different.